All right. Hello, team. I am here with Kristina. I'm just
Hello.
pulling up to make sure. Okay, I got the live pulled up. Yay! Okay, so we're going to chat with you guys today about in-person events. So Kristina is going to chat about all things in person because she is over on the West Coast and they don't do things quite like we do on the East Coast as far as like online parties and things like that. A lot of her stuff is face-to-face interaction, in person, in home, girls' night out type things where she does a lot of things in person. So I know a lot of you have been frustrated with online parties and just like, I need a different way. Like I need a change. I need something different in my business. And Kristina, she's already way ahead of the game. Like she would probably learn from us when it comes to online parties because she is so used to doing in-person things because that's just how she rolls in California. So Kristina, if you want to introduce yourself, like let them know how long you've been with Color Street, and then just kind of go into your spiel. I have the team group pulled up on my phone, so if questions come in, we'll answer those at the end.
Awesome. Thanks. Yeah, I don't have my computer or the team group pulled up, so I won't be able to see that. So that'll definitely be helpful. I'm Kristina Schlosser. I am a director on Team No Excuses with Color Street. I've been doing this since June, the very end of June in 20, I think it was 19. It's been just over 3 years. So
long time.
Yes, quite a while actually. And the time has flown by. It's been crazy 3 years, but crazy in a lot of good ways too. So before the pandemic, I actually did a few home parties, and they were, in some ways they're kind of like events, in the way you kind of can set up and the way, you're in person, you get to talk to people, which is really cool. So some of the stuff I've done for events, my setup is almost similar to in-home parties. So if you've ever done events and you haven't done in-home parties, you're already partially there. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about, I know one of the questions it asked, how many people do you invite? Or you allow the host to invite. So what I usually do is I'll make a graphic for the hostess and give that to her. They'll talk about the time, place, information. We usually come up with a fun title. I've done like Mimosas and Manny's, a few other ones that were kind of fun titles like that. So find something that works for you or the person that is hosting for you. And then make a graphic for them so that they can share through text, email. And then I usually also set up a Facebook event that they can invite people that way, because a lot of people, even if they don't necessarily want a Facebook party, it is a great way for them to invite friends to these kinds of events. So I don't usually give a limit on how many people they invite. Typically, depending on the person and their house, they would decide how many people they want, how much people it would hold or how much would be comfortable. And typically they'll invite more than what's going to come, because you may have only 25% of people coming. So far with the Facebook events, the home parties I've done, I think I've had somewhere between 8 and 15 people. And depending on the house size and if they have enough seating and everything, it's quite comfortable. So what I typically do is I also tell the hostess to let her ladies know, or her people know that are coming for this, to come with naked nails. So always talk about, hey, come with naked nails. We're going to apply while we're here. I tend to also offer a $10 set for anyone who wants to buy a set to put on. That way they're not just using a twosie. They can walk away with a full mani. And one of the things, of course, I do during the party is help apply. But that's usually after everything else I go through, including the presentation that I'll do at the party. So let's go here. I'm just going to show let me see here. Let's pull this out. Hopefully I can turn this around. Looks like it. So here is kind of like a simple setup. This was just thrown together with stuff I have off to the side for a party. So of course I have a display. You may not have one. If you don't, no problem. Usually if I'm doing a party towards the holidays, one fun thing is to buy decor, go to Dollar Tree. Even if you're not doing it, I don't really have any decor on this table right here. By the way, I do usually bring my own table. It's one of those that are easy setup. They flip open. I'm sure you've seen them around, those plasticky tables. Super easy to travel with. If you don't have one, ask your host or hostess if she has a table you can use. I would suggest having your own tablecloth though to put over or something. Sometimes if it's a holiday event, I'll do fun holiday tablecloths. So I have a couple different ones stored away for that. I usually bring my prize wheel because that is a lot of fun and enticing for ladies. If they order, they get to spin on the prize wheel. I have a couple simple things here that could be prizes. I haven't changed my wheel since my last online party, but I need to update this. But because it's a home party and it's not public, you can have things like $5 off your order, which you can't do in public. Another thing I usually have, of course, is catalogs. Make sure you have your sticker on them. Sometimes I'll do these little gift bags where it has Susie's, my card, and a little like nail kit in there. You can make your own, make it however you want. You don't have to do this, but I kind of do it as a little gift to give each person who comes to the party. So they do at least have Tuesdays to take home, possibly share. And I'll usually give that with them with a book. And I also have my Tuesday sheets that has directions. If you don't have this is fine. Color Street has their own, or you can make your own online. Another thing I do is games. Games are a lot of fun. Sorry, let me hold off on the games there. Get back to something else first. Another thing I do is door prize. So I have these little sheets here. You can totally make your own. It is just basic info. And what this is for door prize. So I have them, but basically it's a way to be able to contact these people later, which is super helpful. Hopefully you shuffle them into your VIP, invite them there. But if they don't have Facebook, it's good to have a way to contact them. I usually bring a little bucket with pins, and then they put in their sheet afterwards, and I'll draw a door prize. So that's one way to get customer info while you're at a party. Another thing, always be sure to have at least if you hopefully have these for yourself, each of your items. I will use my Color Street remover and show them how well it works. That's a great thing to show. For sets, I like to organize them not only by display, but also in these cute little baskets. I usually bring a lot more if you don't have a lot of stock. What I recommend doing is if you have either a laptop or a iPad or something like that, bring that and allow them, if they purchase online during the party, they can spin the wheel. Otherwise, if they purchase in home, a great thing to do is having ordered like this. And this is being ordered right now, but I just grabbed my basket. So you have like solid splitters, overlays, designs and holidays. Just, label them so they're easy. These are great for people to be able to flip through really easily without having a big mess. Let's see. Let me switch back over here. So door prize is usually one way I give away a gift. Another one, I usually always bring a gift for my hostess, of course. And again, financially, it's up to you how you do it. Let's see here. Okay, so for games, one of the fun games I've played, and ladies always love it, is the left, right, left game. So basically, there's a sheet, and I'll have to find it. I couldn't find where I put it. Right now, my office is a complete mess. But basically, you read off the sheet, and it's a story. And so you'll have your gift or whatever for the game. You hand it to the hostess, and then everyone's either in a circle or somehow so they can pass back and forth. And as the story goes along, it'll have a left or a right. So you take the item and they pass it left or right. And when the story's over, whoever it ends up on, they get to keep the prize. If you're wondering, what do I give away for prizes? Dollar Tree. Go to Dollar Tree. You can buy these little Manny set kits. If you prefer online, Amazon has all kinds of fun little gifts. Do like nail clips, whatever fits your budget. Does not have to be super expensive. These bags even came from Dollar Tree with the stuffing inside. So, you can get some good stuff, fun stuff at Dollar Tree. Does not have to be nail related whatsoever. But make it fun. If you do a theme party, maybe make it something for the theme. If it's like mimosas, maybe have a little bottle of alcohol or something, or, just something fun. Another game I like to play, which is a booking game, is called the dice game. And so basically what you would do is, I don't have my dice, could not find them. I think my son took them. But usually I have dice in here. And this is my little dice rolling box right here. And then I get these little cards, and you can reuse them if you need to. So I get these little cards, and what I do is I put them in envelopes, and each envelope is a number. Whoops, this is number 9. If you have, I usually do 2 dice depending on how many people you have and that want to play, but they roll the dice, whatever number they land on. They get that envelope, and then once everyone who wanted to play gets an envelope, and I do let them know ahead of time that one of the options is to book a party so that they're aware before they play the game. So basically, about 2/3 of these are hosted party. The other ones, there is a couple that have win a prize. It could be as simple as just having a few twosies that you give them, or it could be, I usually have a grand prize as well, and that would be, whatever little item I'm giving away as prizes. So I find doing these fun little games usually gets more people involved. It is really useful to book parties. They do have the dice game also for online parties, but doing it in person is just so much more fun because, of course, it's a physical thing. You have it. Again, I buy these. They're the little, cards from Dollar Tree that are blank inside. So I just write on them. And it works really well. And I've actually used this one for 2 different games because usually people aren't going to walk off and keep these. They usually put them down, they pick them back up. So those are the games I usually play. Typically what happens is once I have the party, everyone comes, you kind of talk and whatever, ask people to fill out the door prize form. You can hand out catalogs. I'll usually do that, like I said, with the little goodie bag. I hand them, and then I let them know I have a deal they can get a $10 set from my inventory. Hopefully most of you have at least a basic inventory, maybe not a whole lot. If you don't want to offer that, that's fine, and just do twosies. But then what I usually go into, once everyone's settled, they're there, they got their snack or drink, they're all talking, I'll sit down and do a presentation. And what my presentation usually includes is I talk about our products, I talk about nail care, I'll go through each one of my nail care items, talk about how I use them, when I use them, give some background information on those products, why I prefer them over other brands, my personal, how much, they've helped me. So I have long nails, which is great. Not all of you do, I'm sure. But it doesn't mean these products aren't still fabulous, because they really are. Another thing I'll do after that is I usually break out a twosie or a set I'm going to put on that day. If I came with bare nails, I usually don't. I usually come with either a glitter or solid design, something I can put over a twosie, and I'll grab a twosie that looks good with it. Maybe I'm wearing a solid, and I will apply that and show them. And then at that point, I'll again offer the $10 if they haven't already grabbed the set, and I'll go around and help ladies apply the manicure. Typically at that point, the party's just, people are hanging out, they're put on your nails. I walk around, help them put on their nail strips, show them tips and tricks on how to put on nail strips. And, they shop. So super easy, super fun, great way to meet people. You just kind of gauge how things are going and don't try to do everything really quick at once. Just spend your time kind of going through. Again, like I said, meet and greet, and then you'll usually go into maybe a quick game, and then you'll go into your presentation, you'll help apply, and then maybe do the booking game after that. And then at the end, do the drawing for the door prize is usually how I do it. So do we have any questions or?
I have a question.
Yes.
So I'm over here brainstorming. So one thing I had in mind, this isn't my question. When I used to go to in-home parties, like for Avon and Tupperware and 31 and all that, I loved the purse game where they'd make you pull out your purse. And it was like, they went through these random items, and it was like, whoever had the most random items won. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that was always my favorite game, because I have everything but the kitchen sink in my purse at all times. So, and I love how you said like meet and greet and then a game, because a game always helps like break the ice of kind of like that awkwardness. And then it's like, okay, we're all friends now. Let's, get down to business. So what I was going to ask you is, how can people incorporate these in-person events into their business other than in-home parties? I know you've done like an open house at your house and had like a setup and invited people over, and you just do like what, from like 2 to 4, you can stop by and shop, and like, is that kind of how you do it?
I've done that. I've also done where I set up, someone didn't have they lived in an apartment, so they didn't really have the space to have something. So I set up at a brewery. And so I called the brewery in advance to make sure that they were okay with me doing this there, because it's always good to check with the owners of the place you're planning on doing this than just showing up and having all your stuff laying out. And they were okay with it. So I set up ahead of time, just had like a little bit of a bench table. So very minimal setup, not all of this, of course. But because it is in public, I let my hostess know I can't offer special, deals for purchasing. But what I did instead is I told them if they wanted to purchase a $10 set in advance, they can get it there for pickup, and then we'll apply it there. So I gave them that option to still get that special deal without it being in public. The great thing about doing them at these kind of places is you end up with strangers walking up. So I have actually met people who weren't part of the party who saw me applying twosies to people and was like, oh, let me check that out, so you actually sometimes will get sales or people that are walking by that gain interest, and you kind of, you don't want to focus on them because they're not part of the party, but, give them a twosie, maybe even apply it to them if they want it. The people in the party, of course, are like, oh, it gains more interest. So that's a lot of fun. And, and that's doing it somewhere that's not in someone's home. I've heard people do pop-up shops sometimes. I have not yet. But I've thought about calling around to like breweries and setting up to where you can, ask to come set up for a day, and just like if people come in for the whatever, you don't want to like reach out and bug people, but you're kind of there in case someone walks by and has that interest and look, then you can kind of, ask them if they want to try it, that kind of thing. So it's kind of like doing an event, but not really. You're just kind of setting up in person as like, I'm off to the side here. And some places that will allow you to do that.
I love that idea of meeting up with some friends at a brewery, because that's kind of where I was going with things, is like a girls' night out type thing where, like get your girls together, go out for an evening out. I'll show up with the nails and the catalogs and all the things. Like that sounds so fun. So I love that.
Yeah, I've done it a few times with just hanging out with my girlfriends, and I'll bring some nails. I come with my nails not done, and so I sit there, open it up, and of course, then you grab people's attention sometimes.
Yeah,
so it works out. Sometimes more with people here in California who are very opposed to direct sales and very opposed to, partying. If you do something, just hey, let's go hang out with friends, and I'll just kind of share it a little bit. Sometimes they're more willing to try that out.
I love that. I've been wanting to venture out and try an in-person event, just with, the world kind of going back to a little bit of normalcy and people are more comfortable with getting together and things. So I was listening to a training, I can't remember which one it was, but they were saying that statistically it's shown that you get more orders and more bookings from in-person events than you do online. So that's the one thing that I was, because, I'm laser focused on this Jamaica trip. So I'm like all things, I'm like gung ho. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do all the things. I'm going to try it all. I'm going to do it all. So I was like, okay, if in home or in person is where it's at, like I want to shift to that. Now I'll still do online parties, but I really want to try some in-person events. So I'm very excited that you shared all of this. I have notes from this. I feel a lot more confident going and doing an in-person event now. So I was trying to watch the comments. I don't see anything unless my phone's not showing me comments, but we can always go back afterwards too and look at those. But did you get through everything, or did you have more stuff to add?
Nope, that's it. And I was going to say the first game was the other one I could not remember, but I played it and ladies love that. So I think sometimes the people who do go to in-home parties will throw random stuff in their purses because they've played that game before.
I love it. Yeah, I love the thought of anything in person. Like I think in person is so much better because you actually get to visit with people, and like anytime you meet up with people, your heart's full. Like we're humans, we crave that interaction and those connections. So I love that.
And you'll get people too that one are on Facebook and maybe have never even heard of the product, but you'll also get people who they may at some point had a sample from you, or, you know, weren't even interested in a sample, but once they're in person and they see it and they see how easy it is, I mean, it's like, it's just, you know, you get that blown away look, probably the same one we all had when we first tried the product, like, you know?
Yes.
So you definitely get more sales than in person, in person than on Facebook. Not only that, but you have a captive audience. You have the attention of the people. They're there in the room. It's not like a Facebook party where, you know, you may have some that are great and people interact, and then you have others where you're literally talking to yourself, right? You might have like 20 or 30 people, maybe even 50 people in a group, and one person's commenting, and that's hard. In person, the people are right there. So it's so much easier, you know, to be able to talk and interact with people. And I think too, you build better relationships that way because they really get to kind of know you and have that conversations one-on-one.
Well, and the other thing that's really nice about the in-person is, just say you schedule one in-person party a week, and that's like 1 hour per week that you are working your business, because you're doing that party and you're not scheduling things out. You're not following up on posts. You're not checking in every day to reply to posts that you know what I mean? It's like, it's all right there. Like, okay, we're going to do this at 7 o'clock. It lasts for an hour. We're done. Like,
tell you one thing though, you're not going to be able to get it done in an hour.
Well, I'm just throwing out, you know, an example.
Yeah, for sure.
So
definitely give yourself more time for an in-home party, because there will be more time, especially if you do have the stock. They're going to be shopping it, looking through, you know, pulling them out, you know, trying to figure out how many they want. I've done big sales with in-person.
Nice.
Yep.
So then when you do the in-person events, do you make up your own Hostess rewards?
I do.
Out of your inventory?
Yeah, so I do it one of two ways. I will either set them up a link if they prefer, or if there's a Hostess special they want, I will set them up a link. And then anything that's bought, that's my stock, I will then rebuy inventory through their party link so that they can then cash out. Or if they have enough sales through their party link and they would prefer to do mine for my portion, I'll do a combo. They could have their party link, cash that out, and then cash out the rest in my stock, because I have a little bit better rates I usually give. It's usually one free set for every $75 sold. Or it just kind of goes along the same scale, but typically a lot of times people may want my stock. One, they get it right then and there.
Yeah.
And two, I have a lot bigger, I have retired limited edition stuff that is no longer available. And so they eye that, they want that, which is completely fine with me.
Okay.
So
well, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So it really is up to the hostess what she prefers, if there's something she wants online, or if she prefers to shop my stock instead.
Okay. And I think you mentioned it, and I can't remember at the beginning, about the invites for in-person events. How many people you tell your hostess to invite?
So I told her.
Did you mention that already?
Yeah. I at the beginning I kind of said, so I usually do invites. We usually offer up a lot of ways, but I tell her usually to invite more people than she hopes will come, because typically you're not going to have everyone come. You may not even have 50% come. Some do. But for them, it's more who they're comfortable with in their home or the environment, and how much space they have. Like, you want to have a comfortable enough space so people aren't standing on top of each other. But I don't have any set limit of only 10 people or anything like that. They're allowed to invite whoever they want if they feel comfortable with that number of people in their house, if they have the room for it. It doesn't really matter to me whether there's 5 people or 50 people.
Okay. Perfect. So do you think that, like, the old rule of thumb is still legit? Like, back when the 31 stuff was popular, they'd say like a quarter of your list is going to show up. So if you invite 20 people, maybe 5 are going to show up. So I think, and it's kind of like you said, I mean, you kind of know when you're starting your list, like, okay, my sisters, they're going to come. My mom's going to come. My aunt's going to come. And then Sally, Sue, and they might not come. You know what I mean? So you kind of just know who's going to be there for sure, and then who might show up. But okay, let me see.
And I usually do ask my hostess if she can give me a count, so I know how many goodie bags to bring if I'm bringing one for everyone. And I don't do it for all parties, but for the most part, I will put something together, super simple, either in one of these little things, or even I have plastic ones too. But I'll just put in like my business card, usually a couple twosies for accent nails. And I have these little packs I got online. I got a huge thing, but just a little nail care pack. Makes it easy. It's
Nice.
already put its own little thing. Yeah. And
Okay.
so each person gets a little gift bag, and you can put whatever you want in it. Throw some candy in there, which I don't know why people love candy, but
Yeah. That's a
throw
great
some little,
idea.
yeah. So like if it's
Okay.
Halloween, throw Halloween candy in there. If it's near Valentine's Day, throw in little heart candies. And kind of I like to like gear it towards what holiday's coming if a holiday is close.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, Kristina, this is like ideal timing to be talking about in person because with our first wave of the cosmetics coming in like a week, I feel like we're all going to kind of gear more towards in person because with having cosmetics, I mean, that's
Yes.
something that you really, I mean, even the nails is something that we really can do in person. Like being able to put the polish on people, that is where the magic happens. That's when, you get that aha moment. But with having the nails and now the nail care line and soon to be cosmetics, it seems like, and this could all be flipped to, you know, not a nail bar, not a beauty social, but like a nail care workshop. Or I love, Kristina, what you said at conference about beauty bars. Like, I think that is such a fun name, for
Yeah.
something like that. So I think it's really a great idea to try the in-person events. I think that once we start carrying the cosmetics, that it's just going to be amazing. And if you have the nail care, mine's over here, I should have brought it over, but like having the cuticle oil and being able to let people sample it if they're comfortable
Yes.
trying it out of your bottle and you're comfortable letting them. The lotion, you guys, our hand lotion is unlike anything I've ever tried before. Like if I could squirt a little bit in people's hands and let them try that, they'd be like, what? So just having things and letting people be able to touch it and sample it and all the things, that's just, I think it's going to go so much further than doing something online. So,
Well, and really, I mean, Amazon will have little packs you can buy of like tester things, like tester lip thingies, where you can if you have all the containers, you can open it up, get a little tester one, wipe it on there, and then let them, obviously
oh
not the one
yeah.
you use, but then you can do that at a home party so that people can try different shades.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with the cuticle oil. They have those little grabby things where you can get and grab a little bit, and they can just kind of I forgot what they're called, but the little bulb thingies, so
Yeah.
that they're not touching it, and it's not touching any of your stuff. So you can have little sample ones basically that you use with like a little bulb thing to get a little bit of cuticle oil for them to feel how wonderful it is.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love that. You have me so excited to do. I think I'm going to try to book at least one in-home party for September. And I'm sure I have some VIPs that would be willing to do it, or maybe just, get like a close friend and say, hey, I'm going to give you a free set just for being my guinea pig. Let me try it out on you.
Yes, yes, for sure. Especially, I mean, we're out in Ohio where you guys have snow. What are you gonna do, in the wintertime anyway? Like come hang out and have a good time, have your friends over. I mean, that'll be a lot of fun.
Yes. Beat the winter blues. Come hang out. Let's get snowed in.
Yeah. Be snowed in, but we'll have beautiful, lips and nails.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I don't see any comments. I don't know if my phone's messing up or what, but we'll go back and check those. And if you guys have any questions, make sure you comment and we'll go back and address all of those. Kristina, thank you for sharing this. This has been amazing. And
For
I
sure.
would love to know if you watch this and you are going to try an in-person event, let us know. Let us know in the
Yes.
comments if you're going to try one, because I know I'm ready to now. I'm super excited. So, all right. Well, you guys, we will talk to you soon. Thanks again, Kristina. Bye, guys.
Bye.